Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for having me. So tonight we'll be doing a blended flow. So it's going to be a blend of Vinyasa and Restorative. So for these types of classes, we'll start off with some real gentle flow, some movement, a little bit of breath work. And then the latter portion of class will be more restorative. We'll be holding postures for 3 to 5 minutes per shape. So for that, you might want to have some props. So I'd suggest that if you have them available, you get yourself a blanket. This could be a yoga blanket. It could be a beach towel, something to offer some support. You could use 1, 2, 3 of these with props. The more the merrier for this practice. Also, if you have a pillow, couch cushion, or a bolster, that might be something nice to have. Just something that you can support your body with. One of the real tenets of the restorative yoga practice is exploring what it's like to be in stillness and really doing less. And so that, is holding postures, and that's also supporting ourselves. We can let the muscles relax, let the body relax. And throughout practice today, really listen into the body, listen to what's going on. This is really an internal practice. So focus more on what this feels like for you and what the experience of these shapes is, more so than what they look like or what the external appearance might be. And so we'll begin tonight with a little bit of breath work. So you can begin in a comfortable seat. I like to be sitting on the shins. You can sit cross-legged. You can sit with the soles of the feet together. I also like to sit up on a block that can help just elevate the hips up above the knees a little bit. So if you have a block or a pillow available, that can be really helpful just to help lift the hips up over the knees. We're looking to find a lot of space in the torso. And if sitting up doesn't feel good, you're welcome to lay down on the back, really modifying all of this to fit you where you're at today. And so begin by sitting up really tall. You can let your eyes close. You can let your eyes be heavy. Just taking these first few moments of practice really as an opportunity to check in with where you're at today. It might help you to notice your breath. It might help to pick a sense, whether that be something that you hear, something that you can smell or see, and focus your attention in on that. And so as we sit here, completely natural and completely normal for the mind to wander, for thoughts to come in and out of the head. And so as we practice, you can bring your attention back to that sensory object that you've picked, or focusing in on the breath. Whenever you find that your mind is following one of those thoughts, you can bring it back to a sensory object or back to the breath. And sit up really tall, reach up through the crown of your head, and let your shoulders fall down away from the ears. And unclench your jaw, release any tension that you might be holding in your mouth. Release any tension that you might be holding in between your eyebrows. And so you're welcome to stay here in this seat, in this open awareness meditation, whether that's on the breath or a sensory object, something that you may be experiencing. And if you'd like to work with some breath work, I'll offer the Samavriti. And in this breathing technique, the inhales and the exhales are of the same length. And so we'll work with a 4 count in and a 4 count out. I'll count through the first few rounds. Just sit up really tall. And take a long, slow breath in through your nose for 2, 3, 4. Hold it briefly, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty briefly. Inhale for 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold full. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty. So continue this, working with the 4 count, your own count, so that you're not tied to my count. If you find that it's difficult, you're welcome to increase the length, increase the count, or decrease the count, or forget the count altogether. Wherever you're working, make sure that you keep space in the torso, lengthen the spine. And a strong observation of the breath if you're working with it. Or an observation of one of the senses if you're working with that. Noticing if you can find a bit of seamlessness between the inhales and the exhales, almost as if the end of the inhale is tied to the beginning of the exhale and vice versa. You can find some smoothness in the breath. Slowly beginning to bring the breath back to a more natural, unaffected pace. And coming back to it really slowly. Sitting up tall. Unclenching the jaw. Once the breath is back to normal, you can open your eyes if they were closed. And slowly begin to make your way into a tabletop position. And so if you have an extra blanket, you're welcome to take that and lay it out across the mat, just to offer a little bit of support on the knees. Particularly if you're working on a hard floor, you have sensitive knees, or that just feels like something that would feel good for you today. And as you arrive in tabletop positions, make sure that your mat area is clear. You have a lot of props around. It's definitely nice to have them nearby, but not crushing you. And so in the tabletop position, roughly wrists below shoulders, knees below hips. And spread the fingers really wide today and curl the fingertips down into the mat, almost like the fingertips are grabbing, clawing down into the mat. And so take that clawing and reach out through the crown of the head and slightly engage your abdomen. And so take an inhale, arch your back, drop your belly, pull your collarbones forward to find cow pose. And then exhale, hollow out the belly, round the back for cat pose. And inhale, arch the back, pull the collarbones forward, take the gaze with you. And exhale, hollow out the belly, pull the navel towards the spine, round the back for cat pose. Now flow through this at your own breath pace. You can close your eyes, you can let your eyes be heavy. You can work with the Samvriti breath, the counted breath, that felt beneficial to you. You're also welcome to begin to make this a little bit your own. Maybe you bow out the elbows, maybe you dip the shoulders. And just begin to get into the body. You wag the tail side to side. We'll be with this for the next few rounds of breath. So really use this as an opportunity to explore what it's like to link your breath to your movement. and vice versa, moving the body in alignment with the breath. Noticing what it's like to fill up the collarbones when you're in cow pose and what it's like to hollow out the belly when you're empty of air on cat pose. I'm just using this to take temperature of how you're doing today. So then come to find stillness in your tabletop. Again, reach out through the crown of your head, reach out through the tailbones. This is a really active shape. Take your fingers and walk them one print forward. And tuck your toes and push your hips up and back to come into downward facing dog. This is the first downward facing dog of the practice. You feel free to pedal out the feet and dropping the heels down to the mat. We're exploring the backs of the legs. Maybe you dip the shoulders, do some of the same movements that you took in that tabletop pose earlier. And then come to find stillness in this shape and press down through your hands and reach up through your hips. So that your hips are reaching up. They're the highest point of the posture. And take a big breath in, sweep your right leg up and back behind you. Then as you exhale, step your right foot up towards your right thumb and drop the back knee down. Take a big breath in and sweep your arms up alongside your ears, coming into low lunge. And so in this is really your option. You can take this into a deep back bend, reaching the fingers back, or you can make it more upright. Make a choice that makes you feel really strong and stable. So press down into your feet, hug your legs together. Really find your foundation and then grow up from there. And take one more big breath in this shape. As you exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot. Tuck your toes, step your right foot back to meet your left, and then lower yourself all the way down to your belly. As when you're down in the belly, untuck the toes, bring your hands down by your low ribs, and peel your head, collarbones up off the mat to find low cobra pose. And press down through the tops of your feet so much that maybe your knees begin to lift up. The collarbones open up, the gaze is forward, the shoulder blades draw together on the back. And be in this shape for another couple rounds of breath. And so I'll encourage you to find a bit of softness in this shape. Although it requires energy and muscular engagement to be pulling up with the collarbones and pulling up the chest. Notice where you can find a little bit of softness, a little bit of gentleness in this shape. One more big breath in here, really fill up the collarbones. And as you exhale, tuck your toes, push yourself all the way up and back into downward facing dog. And find your stance in your downward facing dog and then sweep your left leg up back behind you, really reach up through the left heel. As you exhale, step your left foot up to your left thumb and drop the back knee. And take a big breath in, take your arms up alongside your ears for Untitled low lunge. And again, it's your option here, whether you want to keep this to be more upright or you want to reach up and back through the fingertips to find a bit of a back bend. So whichever variation you take, press into your feet. So press into the left toe, press into the right shin and hug your legs together. Find a really strong foundation and then reach up. Maybe arch back a little bit if you're looking to take a back bend into the shape. It might be different on this side than it was on the other side. Just checking in with the body, checking in with the shape, noticing where you might feel tension and tightness, where you feel like you're engaging the muscles. One more big breath in here in the shape. Exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot, tuck the toes and step the left foot back, and then lower yourself all the way back down to the belly again. Cobra pose again, untuck the toes, press into the tops of the feet, peel the head up, peel the shoulders up, lift up into Cobra pose. Again, still working that same concept of finding a balance of effort and ease in this shape. We've been here once before, so maybe use something that you learned in the last round to help inform how you manage this round, how you organize the body. And press down through the tops of the feet. Draw the shoulder blades together, lift the collarbones up. One more big breath in here. Exhale, tuck your toes, push your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And so bend your knees a lot in downward facing dog. So pulling the thighs up in towards the belly. Press the hips up and back skyward. So we're lengthening through the torso. So press into the hands, lengthen out underneath the armpits, through the side body, and press the hips up and back towards the back of the space. And so now drop down to your knees and sit back on your shins at the back of your mat. I'll turn to face you so that you can see. Then plant your right hand outside of your leg. Take a big inhale, sweep your left arm up and over the ear, taking a side bend here. And so as you take this side bend, anchor down through the left hip point and reach up and over through the left fingertips. Again, in this shape, it's a static shape, so you have time to be here and listen and observe what's going on. Notice where you might be fighting and pushing. Maybe you can find a bit more ease in the shape. And back up through center, both arms alongside the ears. This time, plant the left hand outside the left thigh. Reach the right fingertips up and over, taking a side bend over to the left. And so anchor down through the right hip point so that you can reach up and over with the right fingertips. And throughout practice tonight, we'll be exploring the balance of effort and ease. Noticing how much effort you have to put into this shape to keep your body in this orientation, and where you can find a little bit more softness in the shape. Inhale, bring both arms back up alongside the ears, and then exhale, fold yourself down into child's pose. And so in child's pose, your knees can be wide, your knees can be in together. But walk your fingertips out far ahead of you so that maybe your elbows are lifted up off of the mat. As you breathe in, slide your body forward into cobra pose. So rolling over on the knees, dropping the chest, lifting the collarbones up. And tuck your toes, exhale, push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And take a big breath in, sweep your right leg up back behind you. And you exhale, step the right foot up to the right thumb, drop the back knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up to come into a lunge. Anjaneyasana, the low lunge we just practiced. You find a back bend or not. Exhale, plant your hands, step your left foot all the way to the top of the mat and fold there. Use a big breath in to come all the way up to stand, sweep your arms up, look up, your palms touch, maybe you find a back bend and maybe you reach directly up. And as you exhale, hinge yourself right back down, fold over the thighs. Step your right foot to the back of the mat, keep the knee lifted, runner's lunge, gaze comes forward as you breathe in. Exhale, step the left foot to the back of the mat, downward facing dog. Breathe in, shift yourself forward for toes tucked, upward facing dog. So the toes are tucked, the collarbones broaden out. And then as you exhale, push yourself back into child's pose. And take a moment here in child's pose, listen into the body. Notice the rate of the breath. And then inhale, pull yourself forward, slither into that cobra pose again, drawing the chest low, pulling the shoulder blades together, lifting the collarbones up, gazes forward. And as you exhale, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. This time the left foot sweeps up, back behind you, reach up through the heel. And as you exhale, step the left foot up to the left thumb and drop the back knee. Breathe in, sweep the arms up for Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Again, same options. Press into the feet, hug the legs together. Exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot to the top of the mat and fold the top of the mat. Big breath in, come all the way up to stand, sweep the arms all the way up. And all the way back down as you exhale, forward fold. This time, left foot steps back, keep the left knee lifted. Inhale, your gaze comes forward, you're in a runner's lunge. And exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift yourself forward to toes tucked, upward facing dog. Pelvis drops, collarbones open up, find space through the chest. And then exhale, drop the knees, come down into child's pose. A few rounds of breath here in child's pose, listening into the body. And so we'll work through this variation of salute a couple more times. So as you inhale, pull yourself forward into cobra pose, slide the chest forward, lift the collarbones, open up across the chest. Exhale, hips come up and back for downward facing dog. Right foot sweeps up back behind you. Exhale, step the right foot up to the right thumb and drop the back knee. Inhale, arms sweep up, low lunge. Maybe you find a back bend, maybe you don't. Find steadiness in the shape. Exhale, plant the hands to frame the front foot, left foot steps up and fold. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, press into the feet, get long through the side body. Maybe you find a back bend, maybe you reach up tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Right foot steps back, keep the knee lifted. Inhale, gaze comes forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to toes tucked, upward facing dog. Drop your pelvis, pull your shoulder blades together, open up, broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, drop to your knees, push back into child's pose and pause there. Round of breath in child's pose, just noticing what's happening in the body. As we move through the next side again, examining where you can find steadiness, where you can find effort, and where you can find ease in these postures. So as you inhale, pull yourself forward, broaden out your collarbones, pull your shoulder blades together, cobra pose. Exhale, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Left foot sweeps up, back behind you. Exhale, left foot steps to left thumb and drop the back knee down. Big breath in, sweep the arms up alongside the ears for low lunge. Exhale, plant your hands, step the right foot up to the top of the mat and fold. Big breath in, sweeps you all the way up, reach skyward, gaze comes up. And exhale, trace it right back down, swan dive down into a forward fold. Left foot steps back, knee stays lifted, gaze comes forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift yourself forward, toes tucked, upward facing dog, broaden the collarbones. And exhale, drop your knees, push back into child's pose and pause here. So you're welcome to stay here in child's pose. It might feel nice to sit up on the shins, rest your hands on the lap. Just take a couple rounds of breath here just to observe. Notice how the breath is moving through the body. Notice if the heart rate's increased. If you're in child's pose, you can come back to sit on your shins at the back of your mat. And then take your hands, I'll turn to face you, and draw them together at heart center. And interlace all of your fingers. And then turn your palms to face away from you and press forward. And then take a big breath in, sweep the arms all the way up. And then exhale, bring the hands down by the side. And gather the hands back in heart center. Interlace the fingers, different orientation this way. Turn the palms and then press them forward again. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, bring the hands back down. And do that one more time. Interlace the hands at heart center. Turn the palms face forward, press away. Inhale, take all the way up, reach, breathe in. Exhale, bring the hands down by the side. And walk yourself back out into tabletop position. And I'm going to stay facing you so that you can see where we're headed here. You can stay facing the top of your mat. Extend your right leg directly out to your side. So you're in a three-legged tabletop of sorts. And then use an inhale to sweep your right arm up so that you can open up over to the side here. So the chest opens any amount over to the right. The fingertips reach upward and press into the right foot. Maybe you feel a little bit of a stretch along the back, outside edge of the right leg. And take one more breath in here. And as you exhale, bring the right hand back down, pull the right leg back in, and you're back into tabletop. And take it on the other side, so extend the left leg out off the side of the mat. And use your inhale to sweep the left arm up and open. So really press into the left foot, reach up through the left fingertips. And again, really focusing in on this more about what the experience is, more what the shape feels like than what it looks like. So you want to breathe so that you can find space and openness across the collarbones and open chest. One more big breath in here. Exhale, plant the hand, bring the left knee back in. And now we'll work through that with breath. So inhale, step the right foot out, sweep the right arm up and open. Exhale, plant the right, pull the right knee back in. Inhale, left foot steps out, sweep the left arm up and open. Exhale, left palm plants, left knee comes back in. And so flow this at your own breath pace so that you're not tied to my cueing. Everyone's experience of breath and timing is different. So really work with this. Maybe you take really long, slow breaths as you work through this. Maybe you speed up the breath a little bit, but really make this your own. Really having an experience with this shape, having an experience of how the breath moves in relationship with the body and vice versa. Noticing if there's places that you can find a little bit more strength, a little bit more effort, and places that you can find a little bit more ease in the shape. Maybe that means finding a little bit more fluidity between movements. Maybe that means pressing the hands down a little bit further. Just a couple more rounds of this just to get this really into your body and make it your own. And finish up the round that you're on. And then once you arrive back in tabletop, walk your hands forward. Drop your head down. So your hands reach up to the top of the mat, coming to puppy dog pose. So drop your head down. Your arms are out in front of you like downward facing dog, and your knees are like they are in tabletop. The head can rest down on the mat, could rest down on a blanket. And let the shoulder blades come in towards one another. And let the chest fall down towards the mat. And slowly walk your hands a little bit back and make your way up into downward facing dog. And then slowly take little steps all the way up until you're in forward fold at the top of the mat. And take a big breath in, go all the way up to stand. And exhale, hands down through heart center. And find mountain pose. All right, and sweep both arms all the way up for Urdhva Hastasana. Reach up and over. Exhale, cactus out your elbows, broaden out your chest. Maybe you find a little bit of a back bend here, really opening up. Again, inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, cactus out the elbows. Maybe you find a back bend. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, cactus out, find a back bend. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands down through heart center for mountain pose. And so come to find a wide stance. So the feet are about wider than the mat, or wider than the shoulders, excuse me. Not so wide that you don't feel strong or supported, but strong enough that you feel like you have a connection down into the mat. Stand up really tall, reach up through the crown of your head, really engage the abdomen. And just work a little bit of flowing and standing. So turn your left toes off to face the left and bend into the left knee. Reach your arms out to come into warrior two. And once you get into this shape, you can make any adjustments. Maybe you point the right toes to face the top right corner of the mat a little bit. Bend deeply into the front knee. Reach out through the fingertips. And flip the left palm, reach the air up and over reverse warrior. So a couple rounds of breath here, exploring the side body of the left side. And noticing what it's like to breathe into there. Again, coming back to that concept of where you can find a little bit of ease in this shape that may be difficult. And slowly bring it back up through center, through warrior two. Drop the left forearm down to the left thigh and reach the right arm up alongside the ear, taking this variation on side angle. And so in this, remembering what it was like when we were doing the flow and tabletop. So roll the ribs up and open. Maybe you can find a little bit of space. Again, visualizing what it's like to find space in this shape, find space through the chest, through the collarbones. And cartwheel the arms back up through warrior two. Straighten into the left leg and then turn the left toes to face the front of the mat. We'll take this on the other side. So right toes face out this time. Rebend into the right knee. And you're finding warrior two on the other side now. So bend deeply into the front knee, make any micro adjustments that you need to. Flip your right palm to face the sky and then take a big inhale, reach up and back for a reverse warrior. So press down into your feet and find a nice strong foundation. Use the breath to find space up underneath the body. Use the breath to find a bit of stability in this shape, a bit of ease. And slowly bring this back up through warrior two. And then take the right forearm to the right thigh, left arm alongside the ear for this variation of side angle on the other side. Maybe you lean the torso back, you visualize the chest opening up. Again, really embodying what this shape feels like more than what it looks like. And while we're using effort to keep the body in this shape, can you balance that effort with a sense of ease? And slowly bring this back up through warrior two. Straighten into the right leg and turn the right toes to face the front of the mat. We'll flow through this one more time, this time with a little bit more breath. So left toes turn out, bend into the knee. Inhale, reach up and back, reverse warrior with the left hand. And exhale, left forearm comes down, right arm reaches. Inhale, back up through center, straighten the left leg, turn the toes. So turn the right toes, bend into the knee, warrior two. Inhale, reach the right arm up and back, reverse warrior. Exhale, forearm to thigh, side angle, left arm reaches by the ear. Inhale, back up through center, straighten the leg, turn the toes, other side. Left toes turn, bend into the knee. Inhale, reach up and back, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle, left arm, right arm reaches by the ear. Inhale, back up through warrior two, straighten the legs. Last time, turn the right toes out, bend into the right knee. Flip the right palm, inhale, reach up and back. Reverse warrior. Exhale, forearm to thigh, left arm alongside the ear, side angle. Get really long, find steadiness. Inhale, back up through warrior two, straighten the leg. And turn the toes back into the starfish shape. You can step your feet together, or you can jump, whichever feels best for your energy level. And then we'll come to make our way down onto the mat. Make sure that you have your props nearby. We'll start setting up for a couple of different restorative shapes. And so as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these restorative shapes will be holding for several minutes. You'll have your blankets, have your pillows nearby. And so the first shape that we'll work with today is a supported forward fold. So for this shape, it might be nice to have a pillow nearby. And take the pillow in between the legs. If you have blankets, you're welcome to sit on those, again, to elevate the hips like we did at the beginning of practice. And whenever you can elevate the hips up, it can help find space in the torso. If you don't have a pillow, you can just imagine that you have a pillow between the legs. Take the knees and bend them, and then just slowly fold yourself forward. So fold yourself forward into your pillow. If you don't have a pillow, you can just grab a hold of the feet. And so we're starting with the knees bent, and then slowly you can walk the feet out as much as you need to, so that you can begin to rest the body down onto whatever support that you might have between you. And so as we get into these shapes, everyone has different props, everyone has different bodies. So I'll encourage you to really listen to what's happening in you. You might decide that you don't want to use the support here, and that's fine. You can take a little bit more of an unsupported forward fold. It might be nice to take a blanket or a block and set that up to offer a little bit of support for the chest. Take some time to set yourself up in this shape. Be here for just a couple of minutes. And so one of the keys of the restorative practice is really listening in and finding that softness. So you can close your eyes, you can let your eyes be heavy. And really explore what it's like to let the muscles go. So to really let the body settle down into whatever support it is that's underneath you. And as we begin to settle into these restorative shapes, again, it's really common for the mind to begin to wander. And so this is a great opportunity to come back to examining your environment, maybe some senses that you can explore, things that you can hear. This also might be a nice time to come back to the Samavriti breath, in which you count the breath, the inhales and the exhales being of the same count. Beginning here in this shape where there's a true balance between effort and ease. This shape does require engagement of the back muscles and the arm muscles and the leg muscles. But as you use that engagement, where can you find softness? Even if that's just something that happens in the mind or with the breath. The intention we're looking for. And remembering to check back in with the breath or one of your senses if the mind wanders. You'll find just a touch more softness anywhere in the physical body, if that's just the toes or the fingers. And take 3 more long, slow, deep breaths, directing the breath into the belly. And when you finish your 3rd breath, slowly walk yourself back up into an upright seat. And carefully take whatever support it is. If you have some pillows, and you can stack them off over to the left side of your mat. And so we're going to work through supine twist. So you can set up a blanket at the top of your mat to use it as a pillow. Set up your pillows, your blanket stack on the left side of your mat. You're going to rest the right leg on this. So you can come to lay down on your back and pull the right knee up into your chest. So hug the right knee up into the chest for just a moment, really pull it in there, give yourself a big hug. It might feel nice to really squeeze yourself, flatten out the low back against the mat. Compress the low belly with the knee. And take the right knee into the left hand and slowly guide the right knee across the body so that it crosses over and lands onto whatever support you have set up on the left side of the mat. So the right knee is pulled up, you're rolling over to the left, and the right knee is landing down onto some support. And so if your blankets aren't high enough, you're welcome to set something up with some blocks. You could do this work with blocks set up and a blanket. Lying on the back, taking this cross body stretch, this supine twist. And if this doesn't work for you for any reason, you're welcome to pull both knees up into the chest and take more of a traditional twist with both knees together. And taking whatever it requires for you to make this shape your own. And taking a twist of some variation with the knees falling off to the left side. And take your arms out wide into a T or a goalpost shape. Really let the right shoulder fall heavy. Noticing where the body is using engagement. And if there's anything that you can do to find a little bit more softness in the physical body. Maybe you explore finding some softness with the breath. And directing the breath down into the really low belly, so underneath the navel. And visualizing the breath can expand the pelvic bowl. And take 3 more deep breaths in this shape, and directing the breath down into the low belly. And then when you've finished your 3rd breath, a lot of control, really slowly, the same intention that you came into this shape, slowly roll yourself back onto your back. You can hug the knee back into the chest for just a moment, help flatten out the back. And then plant the sole of the right foot down, pull the left foot up, sits next to it, and then take whatever support it was that you were working with, and bring it over to the other side of your mat, so over to the right side of your mat. So extend your right leg out long, and this time hug your left knee into your chest. So give yourself a big hug with the left knee into the chest. Notice how if you pull in on the leg, you might find a little bit of added engagement of the low back against the mat. And take the knee into the right hand and slowly guide it across the body so that the left knee crosses over the body and lands on the support that you've set up for yourself on the right. So it might be different on this side. So you're welcome to, again, work with a pillow, blanket, bolster. Same option applies. You might want to set up some blocks and create a runner. You can set up a blanket across that. That might be a nice option. And also might be a nice option, just take a gentle twist with both knees together. Wherever you land, take your time getting there. Take your arms wide into a T shape. You can cactus them out. But let the left shoulder fall heavy. Again, working the balance of effort and ease in the body. And with every exhale, find just a little bit more release. And release and engagement of the muscles. Release your attachment to the shape looking perfectly. And finding softness, whatever that might mean for you today. And direct the breath down into the low belly. down underneath the navel, visualizing the breath filling the pelvic bowl. And take 3 more long, slow, deep breaths into the low belly. When you're ready, with just as much care as you came into this shape, slowly roll yourself back onto your back and grab a hold of the left knee and hug that into the chest. Just giving yourself a nice little hug of the left knee. And hug the right knee in and hug both knees into the chest. And noticing what it's like to have the low back making contact down on the mat. And slowly let both soles of the feet come down to the mat. And the last shape that I'll offer tonight is supported bridge. So coming from this shape with both soles of the feet down on the mat, and press your feet to lift your pelvis up skyward. And so you can offer support underneath the low back with either a yoga block on its lowest setting. Maybe you use a yoga blanket. Maybe you use a pillow, a bolster. You're just setting yourself up so that you can have a little bit more support underneath the low back. Not so much that you feel like you're pressing and expanding the frontal hips too much and it feels like you're stressing. And if you don't have any props and you're working without props, you're welcome to just stay with the lower back, just making contact down to the mat. Again, with these restorative shapes, it's about doing less. So whether the propping is there or not, the ground is still underneath you. So over the course of the next several breaths, notice if you can use the exhales to let the body get just a bit heavier down into the shape. Acknowledging whatever it is that your body is resting on, the mat, the floor, the props. And directing the breath down into the low belly, filling up the space below the belly button, below the navel. And again, noticing where the body's engaged, what muscles are working. And with every breath out, finding just a bit more softness in the body, a bit more softness in the mind. You're welcome to take your Shavasana in this supported bridge shape. If you're interested in taking it in the more flat back, you can press the feet into the mat, remove whatever supports underneath you, and extend the legs out. It's your choice. Slowly setting yourself up for Shavasana. Maybe you cover the body with a blanket. Wherever you're working, unclench the jaw. And rest. Shavasana. Slowly bring the attention back into the breath. And carefully, just as you made your way into the shape, make your way up to a comfortable seat. As you arrive in your comfortable seat, sit up really tall. You can draw your hands together at heart center if that's a resonant gesture for you. And we'll close practice with one breath. Let's take a long, slow breath in through the nose. And let a long breath out through the mouth. And drop your chin to your chest. And slowly blink your eyes open. Returning to the room. And thank you all so much for practicing with me today. It's truly been a pleasure. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. You can take some of this into the rest of your week. Well, thank you so much.